Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. This is another episode of Encounter. We have the international bestseller with us and an international guru in leadership, Robin Sharma. Thank you very much for being with us and thank you for giving us your time.
Nice to be with you, Roshan.
So, is it your first time in Mauritius?
I think it's my fourth or fifth time in Mauritius, and I always feel very blessed to be in the nation. I find it's a place where people still wear their hearts on their sleeves in many ways. Great culture, great traditions, great beauty, so I always love coming back.
Mauritius is a tiny dot on the globe. You hardly even see it on the world map. Why Mauritius?
Well, I had the opportunity a number of years ago to be invited to do a leadership event, and ever since that first time, I mean, I'm sure you're the same, but there's certain places you go to, and they just feel right, and they fuel your joy, and they fuel your creativity and inspiration, and I just find all the different cultures coming together in such relative harmony when you look at the volatility in the world right now. And like I say, the beauty and then the cuisine, I love good food, and it just feels so good coming back here.
Any food or activities that you prefer doing in Mauritius?
Well, you know, I'm really careful with the seafood that I eat because usually I don't love a lot of seafood. And I come to Mauritius and I pretty much eat capitaine non-stop.
You should.
Give me grilled capitaine with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of sea salt, and I'm a very happy person. So
is Robin Sharma a better person today than he was yesterday?
I try to make myself better. I try to improve my mindset, improve my bravery, improve my creativity, improve my service to humanity. You know, I'm just one person, but at the end of the day, if you look back at your life, it's not about money and fame. It's about, did you live your talents that you were born with? And did you help as many people as possible? You know, a lot of the 5 a.m. Club, this new book I'm writing.
Please tell us about the 5 a.m. Club.
You know, a lot of it's around this thing I call the 20-20-20 formula.
Please tell us.
So the first 20 minutes, it's pretty simple. First 20 minutes of your day, starting at 5 o'clock, is intense exercise. If you sweat, you release BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And that's a chemical that actually grows your brain and accelerates your learning. Whether you're in business or life, learning how to begin your day with the right routine, that first 20-minute pocket, you know, in intense exercise is a game changer. The next 20 minutes is in reflection. I mean, imagine the value of writing in your journal about how you want to live the day, what are your values, what do you want to contribute, what do you want to improve in your work, what do you want to improve in your life. It gives you a great sense of focus and intentionality.
Do you read books that inspire you to be even a better person?
I need inspiration. Who doesn't need inspiration? You know, it's such a myth that I am somehow cut from a different cloth. Every day I go to the well of inspiration.
Would you venture to say that reading is one of the best sources of inspiration?
I think learning is a game changer if you want to be inspired. I mean, it's not only reading, it's watching TED Talks, it's watching inspirational documentaries, it's being around the right people. I mean, there's a lot of science coming out right now. There's one study, it's called the Framingham study. And it was found that if you hang out with obese people, you have a 171% chance of being obese. Now here's my point. If you hang around with victims, you have a huge chance of being a victim. You hang out with complainers, you have a huge chance of being complainers.
So 20 minutes workout, 20 minutes reflection, what's next?
Learning. And I call it the 2x, 3x mindset. To double your income and your impact, triple your investment in 2 areas, your personal mastery and your professional capability. Most people are addicted to entertainment, they're addicted to their victim story, they're stuck in a belief system which is, I just need to be average, and when I look at Beckham or Bono, Roshan or Buffett, they're different from me. And yet if you look at the science, and especially a lot of the research of Anders Ericsson, the preeminent researcher in the field of exceptional performance, world-class performance comes down to 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, okay? It comes down to finding the right peer group, it comes down to being relentless with your singular skill, and it comes down to approaching your work with a beginner's mindset every single day.
I want to go back into time. Who was Robin Sharma 20 years ago, and how have you evolved over the years? Have you put yourself into question and seen your evolution?
Oh, absolutely. I think I've evolved a lot. I think 20 years ago I had more ego, and Look, I've been blessed by great parents. I know here in Mauritius, family is very, very important. And my dad very much spoke of service. And my dad used to use the phrase of Rabindranath Tagore, the great Indian poet. And he said, Robin, he paraphrased, he said, Robin, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice. And so my point is, I've always had this instinct to serve. It's how I've been brought up. But also, there was more ego than I have now. Now it's like, the fame and the fortune, that's nice, but if all I had was a bicycle and a nice one-bedroom or a little cottage by the sea in Mauritius and ate Capitan, and rode a little bit every day, I'd be a very happy man. I'm not, my joy doesn't come from who I am in the world. So 20 years ago, yeah, more ego. I think I was more driven, I've been at the top of the mountain, but I've also been in the valley of darkness. I've experienced some painful times in my life, and last night while I was having dinner, I listened to Khalil Gibran's wonderful book, The Prophet, and he talked about it. He goes, your sorrow takes off the mask and exposes you to your true self. And so those difficult times have humbled me and opened me, and they've made me, I think, a wiser, stronger, better person over the years.
And is it true that the more you give, the more you get back?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's nothing metaphysical. It's the science of one of our deepest human instincts is the psychological concept of reciprocity. And it allowed us, because we're tribal creatures, and so you do something good for me, I just have a psychological instinct to reciprocate. It's called reciprocity. And that's why the great leaders are givers, not takers. And the more I can be an instrument of service, it's not only the right thing to do, it's not only ethical, it not only protects your reputation for the long game, but you create this movement of fanatical followers. I mean, I have, 200 videos on YouTube. I have a podcast called The Mastery Sessions. In my books, I try to give like 10 times the value of the books. In my events, I give. And all that does is, I do it because it's the right thing to do, and I love the people who I'm privileged to serve. I love them. This is not just a business for me, it's a mission. But the byproduct is people share like crazy on the social media, and we've created this global movement where people are sharing all these ideas that are out there, and I mean, what's better than that? You
mentioned earlier that you do meditate every day,
yes.
Would you try? What is Robin Sharma's meditation? On what do you meditate to? Is it a specific kind? Do you do a lot of meditation? Do you focus on something? Mind sharing us that secret?
I don't mind at all. I mean, I've actually started creating my own meditations, and they're very much about bravery. I mean, if you look at the most successful people, the people we admire, they all had a few things in common. I mean, the great women and the great men, they all cared less about what was in it for them and more about serving humanity. I mean, Mahatma Gandhi died with less than 10 possessions. In a world that says, oh, you're a leader and you're great and you're successful if you have the right car and if you have enough things. But look at the great women and men. Mahatma Gandhi, less than 10 things. Mother Teresa, I was in her room in Calcutta. There was nothing, there was a bed and a desk. Nelson Mandela, you know what I heard when I was recently in South Africa? His first paycheck, he got the same amount of money as the previous president, Botha, I believe it was Botha, and he gave it away. So, I mean, I think in my meditations, I want to have less ego, I want to be an instrument of service. I also want to get to a place where it doesn't matter what other people think of me. All successful people, they really don't care what people think of them, and that's one of the great secrets of their success.
You do meditate, you do a lot of sports. I'm guessing also you have a very healthy diet. It's very important to stay healthy also.
When I'm going, I go pretty hard. And yeah, I have a trainer. I mean, one of the best moves you could ever make is to get into the best fitness of your life. There's a great book called Spark. It's all about the neurobiology and the science of exercise. But you actually reconfigure your brain through exercise. So exercise is very important to me. Hydrating with lots of water is very important to me. Supplementation is very important to me, getting enough rest. I mean, people say, you know, you've become very famous, Robin, talking about the 5 a.m. club. You're now writing this book called the 5 a.m. club, but I need sleep. Well, I agree. I mean, the number one way you shorten your lifespan is you don't get enough sleep. So I'm not saying get up at 5 and be sleep deprived. I'm saying get your 8 hours or your 7 hours, just go to sleep earlier.
You seem to be very inspired by the Indian culture. How did that come about to you?
My father was born in Jammu, Kashmir, and my mom grew up in Africa, but she is of Indian origins as well. And I mean, I grew up in an Indian household, so with a father who was a family physician by day, but a philosopher by night. And I should say, you know, he just, after 52 years of practicing as a doctor, he just retired recently. And I said, why did you take so long to retire? And he said, because my patients needed me. So I want to big shout out to my father.
You seem to tell everyone to ask themselves that question. I want to ask you, how do you want to be remembered?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, no matter how long we get to live, the CEO and the street sweeper ends up in the same place, a pile of dust. And we don't even remember the great women and the great men, most of them. There's not many Mandelas or Gandhis. Most great people who are like the heroes of our planet, they're forgotten 10 years after they're gone. So my focus is, while I'm alive, serve as many people as possible. You know, that's why I love this new Facebook Live. Yes. Sometimes, like, I get up in the morning and I say, I'm taking my shower and I say, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to turn on Facebook Live, and I do it, and it's just because it's an opportunity to serve, and I'm always there's an expression, and I think it's Robert Louis Stevenson. He said, you know, you never know how long you get to live, so if you have an opportunity to serve someone, do it now, because you may never get the chance again. So I just want to serve and be helpful and inspirational to as many people as possible while I'm alive, because I won't be remembered after that.
That's very humble of you. Robin, you seem to be very savvy tech. I mean, let's see, you are very savvy tech. And on the other side of the coin, there are a lot of people who lose themselves in technology, and they become a reflection of society instead of being entrepreneurs or leaders. And they get lost somewhere. I think that's a major issue in our world nowadays. How are you addressing this?
Well, if you look at all geniuses, like the most creative, productive people on the planet, they had one thing in common. They had an ability to get lost from the world in a distraction-free area to focus on their one big problem for an extended period of time. Edison would go to his Menlo lab for days with his team. All I'm saying is, science confirms we're all built for genius. But if you live your life as one long addiction to distraction, you never get to use the full bandwidth of your brain. And we live in a world right now where there are a lot of people that are addicted to the white screen, and they're not realizing they are giving the best hours of their best days. Hours that they could use to build epic careers, epic fortunes, if that was important, epic family lives, and they're giving it to build Zuckerberg's fortune. they're building Silicon Valley app companies' fortune. But it is an addiction. The same part of the brain that draws that addiction is the same part of the brain responsible for cocaine addiction. And so you look, a lot of people, they're just addicted to it, and they're not realizing they're never going to get that time back.
So entertainment equals to distraction?
No, look, entertainment as a servant is wonderful. Entertainment or technology as a god is going to destroy the best hours of your life.
And those people who are lost in technology, how can we get them out of it, if it's even possible?
Well, you know, I think it comes down to education. I mean, education, and like, at the end of the day, we are tribal, and so people, to have the results only 2% of the population has, you need to have the guts and bravery to think and live like only 2% of the population thinks and lives. And that's what I'm saying, like, to be a leader without a title, you have to be so comfortable in your own skin that you don't care what other people think of you. And that means you're not one of those people addicted to notifications. You're not one of those people who walks and have family meals while you eat your capitan and you're also doing this in front of your family.
But it shouldn't be that hard.
Well, it is hard to pull yourself away from the way most people are living. And we look at most people and they're watching so many apps and they're so addicted to technology. And you look at most people and they're giving away their power. Oh, I can't be a leader. I can't do the things Robin says in his books. Those are for rich people. Do you know how many poor people found the right book or had just one conversation with the right person? It shifted their mindset. And they went from being a janitor to a manager of the janitors, to this, to starting their own company for janitors. I mean, the human spirit is so unbelievably powerful. But if you're addicted to technology, I love technology, I mean, I love it. But if you're addicted to it, and if you're not rolling up your sleeves and saying, this is my career, let me do world-class work, not only for my company, but for who it makes of me. And if you're not asking yourself, how can I live a gorgeous life? And how can I serve humanity, even if I'm just a taxi driver? You're going to get to the end and you're going to be pretty heartbroken. And a life is a very sad thing to waste.
One of the major issues in our world nowadays is stress.
Right.
And you deal a lot with that stress in your books, and you advise a lot of people. How is it now?
Well, I want to go deep, if I may.
Please,
and you know, I wrote a book called The Leader Who Had No Title, and one of the lines in there is, potential unexpressed turns to pains. So, I've been suggesting, like, when you're born, you have incredible potential. Science and neurobiology is confirming that, okay? You can be great. Everyone on the planet can be world-class at one thing. Most of us just don't find that one thing. And so if you don't live your potential through being productive, being more creative, seeing your work as an opportunity to be great no matter what your title is, then all of that potential starts to turn into pain through self-betrayal. You're betraying who you are. And that's why so many of us are addicted to technology or alcohol or complaining or negativity. Those are all addictions. We are escaping from the pain that is actually within us because we're not living the great, gorgeous, creative, productive lives we're meant to live. Most people, one of the things about most people, and I'm not judging in any way, I mean, I'm no guru. I have tons of flaws, believe me. One thing about all of us as human beings, we are brilliant at self-deception. And you know those talent shows?
Yes.
Right? Like, you have someone who can't sing, and then afterwards they're interviewed. I don't know why I didn't win, I was brilliant. And everyone's just scratching their head. Like, we don't know who we are. and that's why the job of a leader really begins with self-mastery, like understanding your potential and your genius and your capabilities, and understanding what the weaknesses the rest of the world sees in us.
One of the best ways to know ourselves is, would you say, to become more humble and go deeper into ourselves and observe? What's your take on this?
It's such a simple thing, you know. Here's a concept, take the time to think. So many of us are so busy being busy, we don't know what we're busy doing.
You're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
You got it. So come to Mauritius, you know, or be in Mauritius and go walk on one of your beaches and take an hour at least every day and do what the great women and men do. Introspect, solitude, be alone, reflect on your day. And then I also love writing in a journal. I mean, almost every day I have a conversation with myself. What I need to improve, what I need to grow, what I'm doing right, what I stand for, what I'm grateful for. I mean, gratitude is the antidote to stress. And so I just write in a journal, and it is remarkable how an ordinary person like me who grew up in a town of 2,000 people, what I've learned about myself writing in a journal almost every day. You become so acutely aware of how you're living.
See, along with humility, you also develop gratitude.
Yep.
Would you advise everyone to have a journal?
Absolutely. When you're going through a painful time, don't take it out on your family or your teammates or strangers on the street.
Write it down.
Take it out in your journal. Pour your pain, pour your anger, pour your sorrow. And when you're going through a great time, record your time at the top of the mountain. And, you know, get to know yourself. I would bet all your viewers across, your many viewers across Mauritius, but if you ask people one-on-one, Have the times that have broken your heart serve to open your heart and make you who you are. And everyone will say yes. So why does society hypnotize us into saying, oh, you're going through a divorce or a bankruptcy or an illness. It's a bad time. It's the difficult time. In the Leaderhood No Title, difficult seas make stronger sailors. And hard times not only make better leaders, but better human beings. And for you, Roshan, and me, and everyone watching, it's the suffering that we judge as bad, but if we use it as fuel, it will make us great in our own way.
So you learn from all the good and bad things that happen to you and use it as a lesson to move forward in life?
Life, at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to money. Money's important, I agree.
It's a means.
It's a means. We have to have a roof over our head. We have to have enough Capitan, grilled Capitan to make us happy. We're really promoting Capitan here.
And Mauritius.
And Mauritius. I love it. I love it. You know, I mean, I'm even contemplating setting the new book, The 5 a.m. Club, in Mauritius because I love the island so much. And I'm such an evangelist for Mauritius. As I travel the world, I talk about it constantly. But you're right. It's using everything that happens to you as fuel because life isn't about fame and fortune. I mean, I've had a lot of fame, and none of that really, it doesn't make me any happier. What makes me happier is going on Instagram or Facebook or doing an event and people coming up to me and saying, my father-in-law was dying of cancer and he read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and in his last months, that book really helped him. And you know, that's why I do what I do. So that's not just available to me, it's available to everyone watching in our own way. We can use life to become better human beings, braver human beings, and serve the world. And if you look at the world right now, the world is in a very, very messy place.
You have helped a lot of people empower themselves. You've taught many lessons. But people seem to forget that you've worked a lot on yourself. Mm-hmm. And if people want to learn more, they should probably learn how you do things. Mm-hmm. And would you like to share how long you've been working on yourself and how it's been?
I've been working on myself relentlessly for over 20 years. And, you know, I work with a lot of CEOs and billionaires and Nike, FedEx, IBM. And here's the point. We live in a world that celebrates. It's like, oh, you want to build a company? Get a better marketing strategy. Get a better product. Get a better user experience. Get a better team. And I teach all those things. But here's the point. Ultimately, what makes a great company are great people. And so everything begins within. If you can't dial in your mindset, so no matter what happens to you in your day, you see the opportunity, you're not going to win. If you are so distracted by technology, you cannot focus on productivity, you're not going to win. If you haven't done the inner work to develop an extremely strong character, so that you say, here's my vision, and I don't care what the world throws at me, I'm going to get that done, you're not going to win. Those three things, mindset, focus, and character, that's self-mastery. That's the game changer. What message comes to mind?
What is the most important value to you?
I have a few. Service is very important. I call it my mighty mission. Being an instrument of service to as many people as long as I can. My mighty mission is a great value. Family is very, very important to me. I've got two amazing kids. Beauty. I love. That's why I love Mauritius.
You seem to be very close to nature.
I love beauty. I love nature. I'm one of those people who, I'll go smell that flower behind you after the interview's over. I love the sunrises. I love breezes. Nature it reminds you of the blessings that we have every day. You know, Einstein said you either live life as a miracle or not as a miracle. And I think, there's birds singing in the background, but that's like if you start to pay attention to nature, and this is not mystical, this is actually a lot of science. A lot of the great positive psychologists, they call it deliberate gratitude. You have to look for reasons to be grateful. And so if you start to pay attention to the beauty of Mauritius, all the different birds, all the different flowers, the sunsets that you have.
Amazing, Mauritius.
The sunsets. I mean, look at the people here. Like, people still smile and they still talk to you and connect with you if you say bonjour, ça va bien. That's pretty rare. And if you start to notice that, life starts to change.
Robin Sharma, I have so many more questions to ask you, but unfortunately I think that's all we have the time for now. I'm going to take 30 last seconds. I just want to quick fire you right now. Are you a morning or evening person?
Morning.
Tea, coffee?
Coffee.
Hollywood or Bollywood?
Neither.
Action, comedy, drama?
Documentary.
Documentary. Traditional versus modern music?
Oh, loungy chill out for sure.
Who are your heroes to close this interview?
I would say the people who read my books and follow me on the social media and come to my event. You know how brave it is to say, I'm going to disrupt who I was yesterday to be a better leader, a better human being, a braver person, and make the world better. So my followers. Nelson Mandela is a huge hero. My father, who is 79 years old. And my children, they are so authentic, audacious, creative, humble, and grounded. They inspire me every day.
Robin, thank you very much.
Thank you, Roshan. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks so much. This was another episode of Encounter. Thank you very much for your attention. Catch you again very soon.